Excel for this very important engagement this morning. It's going to be very short, but before then, could we please respectfully ask please fill the chairs in front of you, please. And then whilst we're doing that, could we please rise for a short word of prayer? Thank you. That's giving honor to whom it is due. Heavenly Father, we give you glory, we give you thanks and praises, O God, for this opportunity this morning. Father, we thank you for your gift of life. We thank you, the Lord, we are all able to arrive at this event successfully. Father, we invite your Spirit of God to sit in the chair and direct affairs. We thank you. We know that we're beginning with you and we will end with you in a very successful way. Thank you in the mighty name of Jesus Christ we pray. Amen. Now, as we always do, this is going to be a very short media event, and so the agenda is very brief. We're going to have a couple of speeches, and then after that, the reason why we are here will be unveiled. So without much ado, we need someone to sit in the chair for this particular ceremony. We have a lot of distinguished personalities at the high table, but you would agree with me that we have only one chair. So we need one person to sit in that chair. And our chair this morning has over 20 years of experience in the business industry. He's an entrepreneur par excellence. He's a business leader. He's a prolific business owner with various thriving businesses, including Margins from Pronto, Margins ID Group, Margins Real Estate, Margins Uganda in Nigeria, Ghana Identification Company, and many others. He's a partner of the Sergeant Ghana National ID Project, partner and director of the Scam Vision and Southern Trident Limited. Or he is the promoter, the chief executive chairman, as well as the CEO of the Margins Group of Companies. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about no other than Mr. Moses Bailey. Please, let's give him a round of applause. Mr. Chairman, your audience, your chairman, will take a very brief remark from there. Chairman.
High praise indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. I'm delighted by the theme of the Summit and Awards, which is Digital Innovation, Economy for Business Growth. I'm delighted because I think that this digital disruption age that we're in presents a new economy that can propel Africa into the first world faster than at any time in history. Today, all the things that are being disrupted by changing the dynamics of how businesses deliver these services and products. We will say that we're moving from the material world to an increasingly dematerialized world. I think that most people will consider interpreting this digital innovation economy quite complicated. So I'm going to break it down a bit and then show how relevant it is to the growth of Africa and Ghana. It simply means that we're in an age where we've gone beyond the information age, where in everything that we do, we digitize not only our identity, but the way that we connect to people, communicate, interact, exchange, package, ship goods and services to parties are done, in some cases, instantly. With a digital identity, with digital influence in countries seamlessly, without leaving our computers or indeed our digital devices. Now, this new age means that the old factors of production that we consider and interpret in economics as being what propels the economy and builds value have changed. Today, we do not say that we need labor and capital in order to farm or to produce the things that are of the highest value in the value chain. Indeed, the highest segment of the value chain today is in the parties that control the final leg between this interaction between buyers and sellers. The people that build the highways, the infrastructure that dictates the speed at which commerce is executed, contracts are exchanged, and goods and services are delivered seamlessly across the world. This offers a great opportunity, not only for Africa, for Ghana as well, because as you know, the product of this economy is brain power, not the old factors of production. You do not need labor, capital, and land in this new economy. You need brain power. And why do I say that Africa has an advantage? And Ghana especially has an advantage, because our demographics is the youngest in the world. So to use a much more simpler example, we should think as if we were farming. But this new farming is not farming corn or yams or the traditional raw material that we export. We are farming brains. And the raw material of farming brains is on our side. The future is on our side because we have the youngest population in the world. And if it comes to the seeds for farming, our buckets are full with brains. But what is the use of brains if the land is not properly prepared, and the farmers are not trained, and we're not optimizing the yield per acre? It means that in order to cultivate these brains and to have this explosion innovation that leads to growth, we need to understand how to prepare the land. We need to understand how to prepare the frameworks within which we're going to farm these brains. Brains are brains. 6-year-old doing the class 1 and a 6-year-old here at Silicon Valley are the same. What happens to the farming methods and the use that we have per acre of brains is what makes a difference. So it's education, it's orientation, it's role modeling, it's mentoring. It's farming these minds the way that it should be farmed. So if you think that between 6 and 22, where most of the startups in this new digital age are making billions of dollars, what happens? In 20 years, people are 26. What happens? That's the question that we need to address, not just on the policy level, but also on the business level and in our schools. We must have the relevant education, the relevant mentoring, the relevant experience, and the relevant experimentation between this age so that we can create the companies of the future. The digital age is already upon us. And if we're going to create the Ubers and the Googles and the Facebooks, the Instagrams of today, these companies are basically created in garages by people with the right brains, people whose brains have been farmed properly. Then it seems that we put the question in context, both on the government level, the private sector level, and in the companies. We must embrace this new digital economy. I believe that we can, because brain power is brain power. It is how we farm that determines the outcomes. It's my belief that with this initiative from the Ghana CEO Summit, and I must commend Ghana's chosen a very relevant topic that I believe will be what takes Africa from poverty into the new world. We need confidence about our future. We need confidence to understand that this is not a gargantuan, undoable act. We also need knowledge to understand the instruments with which we're going to farm this great, big new world. The disruption that digitization has brought upon us is going to affect every one of us and every one of our companies. We must learn the rules of the game and learn to do things differently. Having said that, I hope these awards will set our young children thinking about the future and about the ways that they can innovate to build a new economy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I think he deserves a better round of applause. Now, before we proceed, I would like to do some introductions of the personalities we have at the high table. Seated to the extreme left of me and your right is the brain power behind the Ghana CEOs Summit and Award. It's a product of an idea which was conceived a couple of years back. An idea which was harnessed in the brain, as Mr. Chairman said, and which was given life. And also we are now in the second year of this baby. Now, by the time he's done with whatever he's going to say, you realize that if at 2 years, this project is already making waves, then you can imagine what will happen in 10 years, in 15 years, in the life of this project. So I'm talking about Mr. or Chancellor Ernest de Graft Ejiri. He's the CEO and founder of the Ghana CEOs, Ghana Chief Executives Network. Now, sitting next to Ernest is also one of the country's leading thought leaders in business and also in academia. He has a PhD in philosophy of finance, and he is also a big man in the insurance industry. He spent several years in the industry, and currently he works with one of the leading insurance companies in the country. That is the Vanguard Vice Chairman of that company. So please let's give Dr. Gideon Amenyedo a round of applause. Another big man, as we say in this country. He is part of a leading consulting firm that we all know. That's Deloitte and Touche. He is the country managing executive, and I'm talking about Dam. And then to my immediate left is also from the same institution. That's Deloitte and Touche. He is Mr. Martin Atafin. He is a consulting leader with the firm. So those are the personalities we have on the high table. Now move on to the So ideas are powerful, and we have brilliant ideas in this country. And so it's time we start giving action to our ideas so we can have the development of big. Thank you.
Good morning to you. Mr. Chairman, distinguished speakers, distinguished media practitioners, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome you all to the press launch of the Ghana CEO Summit and Awards 2017, to be held on the 22nd and 23rd of May 2017 at Kempinski Hotel Locus. The theme for the summit is Digital Innovation Economy for Business Growth. Mr. Chairman, the last few years has seen significant changes in the corporate world, evidenced by a dynamic shift in the fundamental way businesses are conducted in the mature and emerging markets. CEOs struggled with pressures intrinsic to their jobs, have found it a challenge to keep up with the knowledge gap that emerges as a direct result of these changes. According to a research from Standard University, the Miles Group survey, 79% of CEOs do not receive any outside support on their leadership skills, and yet almost will be receptive to suggestions from a coach. There's therefore a clear need for a forum that drives CEOs' personal growth and shared learning, enabled through a peer engagement framework. Peer-to-peer knowledge share is a critical business area, has proven to help in mitigating this critical need. In this regard, the second edition of the
Deloitte brings to the table tremendous insight gained over years of interactions with CEOs, undertaking CEO service, writing CEO thought leadership, and engaging with this group across various countries of the globe where Deloitte is located. The Deloitte Executive Institute, DEI, offers unique executive transition labs based on Deloitte's extensive research on CEOs transitions. The research found that the 3 critical resource table discussions while offering Deloitte insight on these topics. The firm will also run a CEO lab tailored to the theme of the CEO Summit, Digital Innovation, Economy for Business Growth. We look forward to welcoming the cream de la cream of CEOs in Ghana for very fruitful deliberations at the summit scheduled to take place in May this year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so on the back of that presentation, we would also take the next short brief about the selection process towards the CEO's award, and that is coming from Mr. Martin Atafin. Thank you.
Thank you, James. So my role here will be to talk to you about the awards process, how they'll be selected, how the nomination will go through, and then how we'll end up with the awards. The awards are expected to provide an opportunity to recognize CEOs who have demonstrated leadership in these challenging times of ours, and also have contributed to the country's economy. They are based on leadership, personal development, and they include objectives that are related to strategic planning, executive succession planning, talent development, and customer initiatives. So at Deloitte, we believe that exceptional leaders surround themselves with successful peers who help them to become better leaders. And that is one reason why we are happy and appreciate our partnership with the CEO Network Limited, whose vision it is to support the CEOs in this manner. So what are the objectives? The objectives for these awards include recognizing CEOs who have excelled in providing demonstrated leadership that has been critical to the success of their organizations. Also to promote excellence among CEOs and C-level executives, encourage CEOs to be innovative and to maximize their personal success, and to promote high professional standards among peers. So we selected about 30 categories, which are broken down into general categories and industry categories. In the area of general categories, we are looking at the Lifetime Honorary Award, the CEO of the Year, Female CEO of the Year, Best Performing Stock CEO Award, Young CEO of the Year, Expatriate CEO of the Year, the CEO Team of the Year, Growth Organization of the Year, and International Organization of the Year. That's the CEO for the International Organization of the Year. And then, with regards to the industry categories, we're looking at manufacturing, We're looking at telecoms, media, and technology industry. We are looking at banking and finance, energy and resources, which is actually broken down into mining, oil and gas, and energy. They're looking at housing and real estate, health, and aviation. So how can you be part of this? With regards to the nomination process, we will alert the CEO community with a call for nomination through the local newspapers and social media and other media options that are available. So we will advertise both in the papers and then on the air as well. So for those who show interest in the awards process, we will contact them and ask them to provide certain details, which include the nominee's full name, the current organization, current job title, the company and institution, the registered office, the industry subsector, and then also we will ask the nominees to provide for us, in not less than 650 words, a summary of the accomplishments for which they think they should be nominated, accomplishments in the past 12 months. And we would like them to include notable projects or initiatives to demonstrate excellence in this area. And then a summary in not more than 3 bulleted points why they deserve this recognition. We will also do some due diligence ourselves to make sure that the nominee is speaking the truth and saying what they want to say, and to make sure that there's transparency across the entire process. So the nominees' start and end dates will be advertised in the newspapers, and CEOs will be expected to provide that information to us in an email address that we will tell them. When that has been done, and we have done our necessary due diligence process, we will provide a short list to a judging and selection panel. So winners, the judging and selection winners will be done by a judging committee of distinguished and celebrated men and women in the country. The judging will be done in a meeting to be held sometime in April, and the committee will agree on further criteria apart from what we will provide them in evaluating the finalists. Among others, the criteria will look at courage, leadership, vision, demonstrable impact on the company, the industry and the business in general, the degree of difficulty, sustained performance, employee engagement, leadership development, and internal people process, external benchmarks, innovativeness, moral dimension, personal character, the gravitas of the CEO, respect, beacon of excellence, and reputation. And we believe that by the time we go through this, and by the time any CEO comes out as a winner and having been assessed with all these indicators, that CEO has definitely been a CEO worth rewarding and recommending. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I must say that's like a very rigorous criteria for deciding who becomes the top CEO of this country. And so whoever takes the award would be in an enviable position and would have to be very proud about it. And so that one deserves a lot of publicity and billboards across the country showing that recognition. Now we're left with a very simple task, that is to get the third or not the fourth speaker to give us a short address, as well as together we will launch the Ghana CEOs Summit. That is the second edition. So without much ado, may I please respectfully call on Dr. Gideon Amanyedo, who is the Executive Vice Chairman of the Vanguard Assurance Company, to give us his remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. MC. Mr. Chairman, the founder and CEO of the Chief Executives Network Ghana, colleague CEOs, friends of the media, ladies and gentlemen. All of us want to be citizens of a country where the economy is vibrant, income levels are good, easy to get jobs, and these issues come about. A good, prosperous economy is driven by the business community. And the business community, if it's going to do well, they must have great CEOs who think globally and act locally. And it's in this regard that we want to congratulate the organizers of this summit, because they are bringing together a lot of CEOs who come together and listen to wonderful presentations. A lot about the summit and what has been presented has been given by my previous speakers already. And we can see that's going to be a very wonderful time when new ideas will be brought about. This network really, when you're a CEO, at times when you get to the top, it can be a very lonely place. You need support. And there are times you're going through issues where people have gone through before, and all you need is somebody to tell you, oh, I've been this road, this is how I solve it. But most times in Ghana, we don't have these networks. And that's why I'm really excited about the whole of this summit. I'd like to congratulate the organizers. And the first one, I was present. It was really, really wonderful. And from what you heard this morning, the second one is going to be super. I want to use this occasion to advise all CEOs to be part of this function. Topics like digital economy is the main thing now, and if you are not in, you'll be left behind. One thing about education and technology is that there are times you can even be a professor, but you'll be very archaic. When people are talking about simple things, because you are not part of it, you'll be found wanting. But this forum actually, with the creativity, innovation, and the topics that we've listed about leadership, entrepreneurship, I believe that those who actually have not been to the formal school for a long time, after going through, they'll be very, very fine. So once again, I would like to use this opportunity to urge everyone to be part of this. And also the fact that awards are going to be given, and the criteria well spelled out this way, should motivate us to build our business sector very well, so that we can all be proud to be Ghanaian. On this note, I want, together, as the MC said, that the launch be done by all of us. I'd like you to join me to launch the second edition of the CEO Summit. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The sound is being sorted. While that is going on, this is now the opportunity for you. If you have any questions to ask, please, you're free to do so. Do you have any questions? What you have to do is just raise your hand. I will identify you. Mention your name, your media house. Questions?
Thank you. I thought the award was supposed to identify CEOs who are doing well so that they can be rewarded. But instead, you are asking them to write to you to talk about themselves and what they are doing. And they the ones rather chasing the awards, or what do you think?
Okay, thank you very much. Next one. Raise your hand and we go. Okay, Mr. Atafi.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the question. Yeah, I mean, that's a brilliant one. What you're saying is right, but it's a two-way thing. What we are doing is we are doing our own due diligence as well to find out about the CEOs. First, we are putting it out for nomination. So those who are interested to be part of this process will actually now log in and say they want to be part of this. So those who would come in, register, and be part of it, they will tell us why they feel they should be recognized. We will also do our due diligence, go behind them and find out more about them, also find out what they have done, and bring out the things that they may have done that they themselves might not even have identified. Because at the end of the day, we will package all of that and give it to the judges. Now, our due diligence is going to bring out, situations. We are even asking for their audited reports and everything. So it will actually speak to one version of the truth that is within there. But they have to be participants in the whole process. We also don't want to pick out a CEO who's not really interested to be part of the process, and then because then we would not get the details and information that is required from the organization that we will have to use for the assessment. So it's a two-way thing.
Thank you very much. Any other question? Okay, well, while you're thinking about that, I'd like to just add that if you're a journalist and you want to be recognized in your field, if you want to become the CNN African Journalist of the Year, they don't decide and then give you the award. You have to offer yourself by producing evidence of the work you have done that you think can give you the award. And then based on that, the judging panel will decide whether you are the best or not. Even the Ghana Journalists Association's award every year is the same mechanism that is used, or the same criteria that is used. So this one is very simple. There are several thousands of businesses operating in this country. And so we have several CEOs who are potentially qualified to get an award. But on this particular occasion, we would like you to offer yourself if you really believe that you have everything under control. And for me, customer service is very important, and that is a passion for me. We don't have that in this country. So if you think you are competent enough and you have what it takes, offer yourself. You will be evaluated. And the judging panel will then determine, based on the competition, whether you are the best among the CEOs we have in the network or not. And that is why I said that when you have it, this is an award that deserves a big billboard around town to celebrate, because it makes you the primus inter pares, So basically that's what it is. Any other question, please? Yeah. Yes, ma'am. You see, my strategy worked. Name, media.
Okay, my name is Belinda. I am direct for Ghana News Agency. My question is, when the chairman was speaking earlier, you mentioned something about mentorship. So I'd like to know if the CEO Summit has a component of mentorship for young business people who are not yet CEOs but who have that potential, and with the criteria for the awards, do you also have that in the criteria? Are the people who are going to win the awards expected to have done some kind of mentorship or something like that?
Did you get it?
Parts of the question. One of them was whether the summit has a thread for mentoring young CEOs who are coming on board or who are growing in their industries. And the second was whether the awards have that component. So with regards to the CEO Summit itself, although we recognize and would like to groom young CEOs, what we have instituted as part of the Deloitte Executive Institute is the CEO Labs. Now, the CEO Labs, prior to the CEO Lab, we will do a quick assessment of those. For those who want to be part of it, we'll do a quick assessment to determine how we can coach and groom you. So it's not even for just the young, but it's for any CEO as well. So at the end of the day, we will give you a quick plan on what you should be doing going forward. That will be a quick sneak preview of what we have globally, and therefore, after that, if you are interested, you can now be able to register the Deloitte Executive Institute, because we have not just CEO labs, but we have for all the CXOs, there are transition labs which the managing executives talked about. Now, when you come to the awards, we actually even have an award for Young CEO of the Year. But apart from that, my statement, I indicated that the awards will be based on leadership, personal development, which includes objectives to strategic planning, executive succession planning, and talent development, which means that you should have been able to grow talent within your organization. To have a succession plan to say who will be the next CEO when I'm out of here. So you should have also that in perspective.
Great. So we take one from here.
Thank you very much. My name is Patrick Ofoinuji from Atinka FM. I would like to know if you would consider creating a fund, a CEO fund, when you meet Kambi, so that others who would want to access or would want to be helped can access such fund and then grow their business. Secondly, I'd like to know how much each CEO is supposed to pay, those who want to participate. How much are they supposed to pay? Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Ernest.
Yeah, thanks. The CEO network membership is currently not paying dues. Yes, we don't pay dues currently. Yes, and it's a good suggestion you have made in regards to the CEO fund. We believe that we look at the laws and see what if it's feasible. But the CEO network we are talking about here are the top CEOs in Ghana. You get it? And so we belong to the club and we leverage for personal and business growth. So funds, maybe in the long term, yeah, but members are selected based on the companies they work for, their turnover, their brand out there. That's what the CEO network is about. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take another one from here.
Thank you. My name is Nana Bukuru. I'm a freelancer. I want to know if it's going to be CEOs for. If it's going to be CEOs for only private sector or public sector. I mean, then.
All right. Thank you for your question. Yes. It started CEOs for private sector, but just recently, as the public sector appointment started rolling, we started adding public sector CEOs. For example, we just added GIPC CEO, GIPC, GNPC, and the finance minister, and we will keep on enrolling public sector because it has to be that interface. Government is the biggest customer of these same private sector CEOs, and so once we bring them into a direct interface, it helps. So that we're doing now, but originally it started as CEOs of private enterprise, as you can see on the high table.
My second question is selecting the best out of the lot. Are you going to allow the public to vote into the processes or not?
I know there will be no vote. I know this for Deloitte, but I know there will be no voting. They will have a panel. They will publish. They will advertise the nomination processes, and then the requirements are there. So CEOs who make themselves available will be taken through the various criteria as predetermined. And then I think a panel of judges repute 5 of them, and then awards will be decided.
I think you've spoken to it, but I just want to tell you why that is. We don't want it to be a popularity contest. We don't want people who have a lot of followers to vote and make someone the best CEO, even if he is not. So we want to make sure that it is credible. That is why we are going through that process.
I'm sure the word you want to use is that it's not a political campaign contest. Yes, there's a lady's hand somewhere. No? Okay.
I want to know the benefits that will come with somebody who will win the award. What are the benefit packages for
benefits packages, as well as someone wants to know how much is the cost per ticket.
Oh, okay. Obviously, if you win a CEO award, I think that the benefit is immeasurable. And so I believe that answer will suffice in terms of your brand, in terms of the acceptance of your corporate profile out there, etc. On the issue of how much the ticket cost, yes, it's a 2 days event, premium, and the ticket for the 2 days event is average $500. And it is not even just about being able to pay the money. There admission criteria where a CEO can attend events, company should have a turnover of over $5 million. So in business there are niche, and that is the niche this summit belongs. There's not somebody out there just kind of like, hey, I can pay $500 to spend 2 days with the CEOs to network and have dinner and lunch and learn. But even if you go to my website, it is clearly spelled out, and as you go through processes to want to attend, and it will take you through. Thank you.
And in addition to that, beyond the conference venue here, the knowledge that is going to be shared on all the platforms is going to be packaged into a product, a magazine, and a book. So if you're not able to come in because of the high-level criteria, you should be able to buy the document, and you will still be able to learn a lot from it. Okay.
We have a sizable number of top CEOs already. Those CEOs don't pay to attend, especially the members of the CEO network. About 200, 300 are admitted for them. But what we're saying is that, I mean, it's a business, a going concern. So those are the ones are allowed to pay to join them. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kukwa. I'm from Joy Business. I'd like to find out, you said obviously the criteria is quite high. Doesn't that defeat the purpose of maybe allowing people to also, as you said, network with higher level CEOs and be able to impart whatever it is that they can on other?
Right, thank you. Yes, I agree with you. But if you look at a turnover of $5 million, that's about 20 million Ghana cedis for your company to make such a turnover. You see, the idea is, yes, these are CEOs whose turnover are all beyond $25 million. And it is, yes, it is so natural that in packaging a product, you have a niche, if you ask me. You know, so if you ask me, that is the niche where this belongs to. But we formulated products to take care of what you have just touched on.
Any other for the last round? Okay, I guess we've satisfied all your needs. Okay, so we move to the next item, which is to take the closing remarks from our venerable chairman. Mr. Baden, please.
James. No, oh, sorry.
George was very short, but very informative session. I've enjoyed it very much. It's a very great idea to put together the country's top CEOs to support each other and to exchange ideas and cross-fertilize new value propositions to drive not just our economy forward, but to also create quality jobs that will impact the lives of our citizens, individuals who live in this country, and their families that they support. At the end of the day, it's only leaders, visionaries, people who are passionate about achieving what is a very fixed and very fast start in order to be able to excitement around people getting a job, being fulfilled about doing it, and being paid a fair return in order to be able to support their families and in return the economy. I think that I must commend the Ernest for this initiative. It's a very novel idea, and novelty and innovation as a startup business to get out of. There are several questions that have been asked, and all the distinguished speakers have contributed to this process by giving us first from my mobile boy three things that CEOs must manage: their time, their talent, their resources, and their relationships in order to be able to drive enterprise. I picked that out. I think that Martin has also given us what is a very comprehensive framework for selecting these CEOs. On my part, I don't think it's only a question of the CEOs winning an award and thereby extending their brand and their influence, and thereby making it an individual thing. I think it's also something that stimulates people to look at role models and to hear their stories and to look at the journeys that they've traveled. And in the end, it's not just the destination or the money, material gain that one gets from these stories. It's also the stories of strife, of hard work, of determination, of integrity, of honesty, of inspiration that will aid the generations after us to want to do better. We cannot always be givers of stone and carriers of waters, exporters of raw material. Through role modeling, we can inspire the next generation to dream beyond colonialism, beyond dependency, beyond grants, beyond aid, to create real wealth that we can pass on for generations. So that's another angle to it. There's a question about mentorship. I'm very big about mentorship because I believe that it's very scary to leave school, for instance, and think about venturing into the world to start afresh and to take all the risks that the business world brings. But if you can see other people walking on water, then you know it's possible. So I urge others to look at that. Some kind of bridge between established CEOs, understand the reasons for that. It's a network. People will have to have a utility in any organization in order to join it. So you can dilute it by mixing it with other things that does not fit into the reason why they join it. So everything is a value proposition. But at the same time, let's look at the other side of it. How do we use some of that capital that we already have and that we constantly need? How do we then communicate that to mentor other people and teach them the great lessons of these very, sometimes, dangerous journeys so that they can be inspired and they can write about themselves? That's a question that I think unless you should take a look at and building a program. I'm sure that they will look into this. Brainstorm and find someone that fits it. So that we've taken, I think we should take on board. Having said that, the event started on time. I think that we're all aware that this digital disruption, as we call it, as NS put it, it offers opportunities, and at the same time, it offers threats. There's two sides of the coin. For us here, and for the future of our country and of this continent, I think it offers more opportunity than threats. Because we're starting from being, first, a highly indebted poor country, a low-income country, and now a middle-income country. We have everything to gain and nothing to lose. I hope that this summit of awards will achieve its pivotal high ideals, recognizing CEOs, networking CEOs, provide a platform for mentorship, above all, setting a standard of increase in our economic output and our GDP through this opportunity in this new digital disruptive age. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a brilliant closing remark. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. So yes, we are now at the end of the ceremony, and when you see your program, you realize that there is supposed to be some refreshment. That is no longer on the table because we started with it. So if you came late, I'm sorry. You have to see me privately for a private treatment at the restaurant, but you have to pay for it. Okay, so we will have a photo session with the high table. They will move to the front of the table for that to be done. And then after that, the event is officially closed. We'd like to thank you so much for finding time to witness this launch of the Ghana CEO Summit, the second edition. And we hope to see you at the opening ceremony in May. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now we are lawyer, we are doctor. We are mixing up, but we are carpenter. Oh boy, since that this is by now, we are a chef. And May, we start to say, we also see you say this. We are not okay. We are community now, the social capital is a minimum. Now, and I want to go be as a minimum. I start to acquire a social point and make creative. Yeah, the partner, MTN CEO, Airtel CEO, Standard Bank CEO, AGC CEO. It's a focus. I started to make trust a bomb. And it seems a trust now I started. The other side is the intellectual capital, as I said. All of our masters in university, is that the end? No. Until I said, you only also know I am Mushia, no matter what. I mean, intellectual. The business capital is a many share as I trust students in contract. They are those contract now get a minute to be added. Yes, and business deals with confidence. See, you go to the next business capital.
So I hope that the President can implement the vision. Well, we know it's determined, and it's up to all of us. It's not only about us. It's about as the citizens, and we want we're willing to hold people accountable to, how we communicate. We should leave this gossip, rumor economy, and get to real work and make things in Ghana that we can export. I said that people between maybe the age of 6, when they enter class 1, between Ghana and the United States, are the same. So between 6 and when you get to your 40s, we actually stand, building blocks for that 20 years and see what we do with it today. And construct a modern framework, not to teach archaic things that don't have economic impact, but to teach modern things that will serve you on the right path. We build the same great digital that the counterparts in, say, America can build. Because between 6, there's almost nothing. So between 6 and 20, whatever happens, we have to get critical and make a comparative analysis as to what is the content of the education, and what are the role models we set, what are the levels of patriotism, levels of high ideals. So it's a curriculum thing, it's a strategy thing, it's also a program thing for the government. But on the private side, we have to recognize that the world is not interconnected. There's everything else. Everything that you have to learn and learn to learn for free. We must guide our children to go to the side and protect. No,
By extension, it just doesn't stay there. It belongs to the creative powers for CEOs. Now, CEOs have access to each has no business in doing business. So, what we're doing is that we're able to interface directly what the public sector, bringing the private sector CEOs together with the public sector CEOs. And if you look at the theme that we have chosen, is digital innovation for data innovation that comes from business, using the technology should interface with administration and CEOs who drive this. I believe that the capacities of these CEOs with a big vision, the government that is going to provide